Rise and shine, Rwanda.
Good morning. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Ivan Magwene.
And me, Peace Kwizera. Coming up on Rise and Shine.
In our story of the day, we meet one of the graduates of the 9th Rwanda Civic Education program.
In business, we take a look at Rwanda's economic development vision.
For Lifestyle today, we bring you highlights from the well-known Dîner en Blanc. Well, all that and more still to come, but first we get to meet the rest of the team. Good morning, Peace.
Good morning, Ivan. You'd never start with me. I was like,
yeah, what's up with that?
I know. Why doesn't he ever start
break
with
the
me?
stereotype?
Yeah, I know.
Break the stereotype.
Good
job.
Yeah,
Okay.
so anyways, how is the week going so far?
The week is great. You know, I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. Of course, here at Rise and Shine, it's always, every morning, we're always just looking forward to bringing the best of what's trending.
Good morning, Chantal. Looking
Good
yellow like
morning,
the
Ivan.
sun, blazing up in the morning.
Yes,
Looking
it's
so
Rise and
fresh.
Shining.
rising and shining every day.
Yeah, you good?
Yes, I'm good.
All right. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning. You saved the best for last.
Absolutely, I love the humor today.
She has
But-
to make us look bad every time.
Okay, no, not that bad. Okay, anyways, we have all the stories making headlines in Rwanda and across the world shortly. Now, starting off with that region, organizers in Zambia have cancelled a planned concert by one of Africa's biggest musicians, Koffi Olomide, in a row over an alleged assault in Kenya. Now, Kenyan authorities, of course, deported the Congolese Rwanda'S on Saturday after video footage of him appearing to kick one of his female dancers went viral. The Agriculture and Commercial Society of Zambia said the disappointing incident was behind the decision. Now, Olomide has denied assault, though he has since apologized for his behavior. Looks like this man is suffering from his what I would say actions and what he did. But this is a
I'm glad that finally doing something about it. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday in the show.
Well, he might not be in jail, but I think he has really paid for this.
I mean,
Imagine
his career is
constantly-
already starting to
crumble.
Yeah, to
I
crumble.
mean, we were talking about him twice on the show. He's like Donald Trump all of a sudden. I'm
Yeah.
kidding, but
But we're not giving him the good reasons. He's suffering actually for the consequences of what he has done. Of course, he's accused. He's suffering from these consequences of what he has done. He's a very, very big influential musician across Africa, from West Africa to East and Central. And because of that, this is tarnishing his career. Do you think in any or the other, this also could somehow, trigger something of a decline in his sales as a
You
musician?
mean other countries, maybe it affecting future performances in other countries?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it might. But like you said, he's been in the game for over 30 years, and he's gotten away. He's known to have controversy.
Yeah.
And interestingly, his songs are mostly vulgar, but okay, maybe because we don't understand Lingala, we always dance along,
Yeah.
Ekotite and all of those.
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting case. It's a curious case.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
Well, anyways, we hope that, more is, of course, more investigations are even still going on this same case. And let's see what happens actually with Koffi Olomide's career this time.
yes.
Peace.
Now, the 5th edition of the annual National Thanksgiving Crusade, commonly known as Rwanda'S, will this year be held in at least all sectors of the country. This was announced by Bishop Alexis Vidindabagabo, the new, of course, chairperson of the Purpose-Driven Ministries, Peace Plan, and the umbrella organization of Christian churches in Rwanda. On Friday, Vidindabagabo replaced Apotre Paul Gitwaza, whose three-year term, of course, ended this year. Now, Rwanda'S is one of the things that we always look forward to as a whole country. It's where everyone in Rwanda kind of just goes together to thank God. Whatever religion you are, whatever person you are, it's just a place where you can go. Well, I don't know why I'm telling you about this, but of course, now this time round, it's going to be in all sectors. Now, all the people from the villages will have a chance to, go, because it was always in Kigali at the stadium from other parts of Rwanda. I know this is really good news for everyone, but I just wanted to talk about this for all our viewers to at least know that this is going to be taking place for everyone, at large. But Ivan, what does this mean at the time like this?
Yeah, Rwanda'S over the years has been growing. And what I mean by growing is that Rwandans have come to understand that it it is, in fact, God has taken us from very far, you know, with our past history and everything. There is need that the country also needs to recognize that Rwanda'S Shimimana is a very important event on the calendar. And this is very, very, you know, very happy for me because at least now it is getting closer to the people. When you put it at the sector level, that means you're actually making the activity more of the people. You want more people to be engaged in. And not only, let's not forget that Rwanda Shimimana is also bringing different religions. It's a one you know, place where people come from different religions and have to focus on just thanking God about what God has done in this country and putting God ahead in the of everything in this country, of what is been happening. I think this is very important now. It has come to the sector level. It's not all of us going to the stadium to celebrate,
and
but
it's
it's
not
now
people traveling from wherever they live
exactly.
to the stadium.
It's interesting. You know, countries are normally united by maybe along political lines, sports, maybe when Amavubi is playing. But this is to get together and, you know, praise God.
Yes.
And then it's interesting that also Muslims and
Everybody at large.
everybody's in
Other
there.
religions, despite
That's
of the
interesting.
And I also think this is something that Rwanda can teach the rest of the world. I know
Good
we are
stuff.
always teaching them very many different things. I'm sorry for showing off, but it's the truth. But I also feel like this is something that, you know, the rest of the continent and the rest of the world can
You know,
pick from this.
Even Obama was saying it, that sometimes I think America has gone so far, so big, that sometimes they also forget the fundamentals on which they're built on, which are godly commandments. And this is very important, to put God in front in everything you do, in the constitution, in everything you're trying to achieve. I'm speaking on behalf of every Rwandan, but most important, also as a Christian living in Rwanda. This is very good. Now moving on to the other story. Online betting firm SportPesa has become the first African company to sponsor an English Premier League club after it signed a 3-year deal with Hull City. Now the firm will have its name and company logo on Hull City's home and away and third shirts for the 2017-18 jerseys, according to information on the club's website. SportPesa's Chief Executive Officer Ronald Karawuli said this is a big milestone for SportPesa as it marks the scaling of a Kenyan brand into the global market. Now, the SportPesa platform will also be available in the United Kingdom. We are traveling miles. Africa is going, people. An African company. Bring it to the sportsman himself over there.
Well, sports and betting, those are really two things that go together.
Yes, they go together.
Yeah, and the fact that a company from Kenya can make this amount of money
to sponsors.
To go, well, it tells you the power of maybe betting and the power of maybe Kenyan business. This is a landmark for maybe Kenyan companies. It's a good, I mean, all other, we know the Premier League. It's known all over the world. And, you know, we have countries like maybe other countries advertising. So, yeah, Kenya should go there.
Like
maybe
Nigerians,
this is very,
engage in this.
But we haven't seen Nigerian banks or Nigerian businesses.
Yes, but of course I think
you know, this is where the label is the most visible. Yeah, sure.
Yes, one more surprise thing. Leave alone the fact that it is, of course, betting is growing, and for most people that have known the bigger you know, animals in this business as Bates, 365 or all the other companies, but have not known at least SportPesa, which is actually now sponsoring Hull City, one of the biggest and successful clubs in the UK. What is SportPesa if you look at it? Is it the biggest so far in Kenya? Maybe people could know that.
Yeah, it is, because everybody who watches any type of soccer, from the youth in the villages, youth in the towns, even everybody goes and bets. I mean, we've started with people who
even
bet,
I have
their
betted
school fees.
before, and believe me, I'm not a football person. So.
But this is good news anyways, and we can't wait to see the new shirts written on Pesa.
And of course we understand that it's coming to Africa, to the rest of the African continent later this year. So of course we're looking forward to that.
You never know, Skoll might also be sponsoring somebody. Not only Reyes, but all might see Premier Betting somewhere.
Now moving on, Prince Harry has spoken of his regret that he did not talk about how the death of his mother, Princess Diana, affected him until 3 years ago. The Princess of Wales was killed in a car crash in 1997 when he was just 12. Prince Harry, 31, was speaking as he hosted an event for the mental health charity Heads Together, which he was, of course, was attended by the number of sports stars. And of course, he told different BBC and, of course, other platforms, social media platforms, that, of course, this opportunity to highlight that anyone can suffer with mental health issues. Now, I decided to talk about this topic because, you know, we usually, especially us as Rwandans, we usually leave certain things unsaid. You know, that's what we do best. We avoid things.
It's part of the culture.
It's part of the culture.
To reserve something.
Right, to reserve some things. And I feel like it's high time that maybe some of us, maybe some of the, let me say, the older stroke younger youth generation that kind of maybe lost their families in the genocide, kind of sit down, and I know we do these things where we talk about it, but I feel like it's not yet open, you know, that much. And I felt like Prince Harry's story could, be related to Rwanda. That's why I'm talking about it. But of course, starting this off with Ivan, what, in relation to Rwanda as it is, what would you have to say? How is, of course, mental illness, like, what would you say in your own opinion? Sorry.
Well, it's quite a very, you know, the news that Prince Harry suffered this and he never talked about it. It's quite also very big news because, I mean, he's a royal person and he's next in also kingship and he's a prince. But of course I do understand he was at a very young age and he never talked about this. Maybe sometimes just the same way you're mentioning it, you're taken up by the pressures of the world or something else, or the place where you're from. In relation to Rwanda, I would say, of course we've had a very long history, but not only the history, but also let's look at the present, that people do not embrace the culture of opening up and having to discuss about very uncomfortable issues that are happening in their lives. And for me, I think one of the biggest things that are, you know, very important in the society is opening up and sharing these stories, because it's almost like the therapy to the heart. And we have a long way to go in that. And it is important that we get to have discussions like this, just like you mentioned, so that we can actually be able to open up and feel like sharing is not actually meaning that you're going to betray me, or it's not about...
Or you're looking weak.
Or you're looking weak. Actually, that's the whole portrayal of sometimes that, for example, men in African societies, sharing is actually a sign of weakness, which actually is a sign of strength, because it takes a lot to share that story, and it takes a lot to rebuild your life after you share that story. It's a very important sector.
It's very important. Now, of course, do let us know what you think on our different social media platforms, especially Twitter. I would say we should open this up to Twitter. Rise and Shine RW. Yeah,
moving on to the other story, on to the American election. Now, Democratic Party chair says she will resign as a row of leaked emails threatens efforts for party unity at the presidential nominating convention. Debbie Wasserman Schultz's move follows a leak of emails appearing to suggest that party insiders tried to threaten the campaign by Hillary Clinton's rival. Now, Bernie Sanders had pressed for Mrs. Wasserman to quit on the eve of the convention. Now, Mrs. Clinton is to be officially nominated at the Philadelphia meeting, now, which is going to be the Democratic convention. Now, we've already started tapping into the Democratic convention already by having such kind of controversial news of their chair actually resigning. What could this mean for the rest, especially for the Democratic Party that is soon endorsing and nominating Hillary Clinton as their leader?
Well, of course, losing anybody at this particular time would be a loss, I would say. Like, it would be kind of a weak point.
To the party.
Yes, but since it's still my opinion and I'm all about girl power and I'm all behind Hillary Clinton, I'll still say they're going to be fine. And it's the Democrats, usually.
Okay.
Well,
that's just my opinion.
This threatens Hillary Clinton's campaign, because this is a lady who, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton were for the same party, and now those are internal emails, showing that, telling people to support this one candidate and then leave out the other. So that's like Bernie Sanders was stabbed in the back.
Yes.
So it was good for her name to go. She has some interesting name for Debbie to go. Because she was being accused of this, and this was actually causing a rift, a split in...
Looks like Bernie Sanders wants to come into reality,
it's
though.
It's actually
like,
tarnishing the party, you know?
Yeah, and Bernie Sanders is a gentleman, so he got together to tell people, you know what, that's in the past. Okay, I was stabbed in the back, but we are still Democrats, and if it's Hillary Clinton we've put forward, then we should support her and then not focus on the
past.
past.
And
Yeah.
I would say I think they just need to let go of the past. The past is the past, and of course we've seen cases where Bernie Sanders had refused to let go, and finally he just decided that he would support Hillary Clinton. And of course it's just maybe from the past.
He's been called the people's candidate because his campaign, the points he's been raising, it's for maybe the common person.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
while the others
I mean,
also
I've
trying
seen
their best.
I think, to be honest, I've seen a very good campaigning strategy for the Democrats than the Republicans. That's my opinion.
for sure.
That's how I view it. But let's know what you think about the whole campaigns. And of course, we'll be back shortly with the story of the day. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, Rwanda's story of the day with me, Ivan Magwene. Now, for years, the Rwandan government has taken initiative in organizing the annual Civic Education for students in Rwanda and abroad. Now, the ultimate aim is to have Intore, who are supposed to understand their country, be patriotic, and be solutions to the problems in their societies. And likely enough, today we're joined in studio by Samantha Teta, who is a recent graduate of the 9th edition named Indangamirwa, to give us a little bit more insight into this program. Teta, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, I'd love to know a little bit about, your whole experience at the camp. What did you go through? What were your expectations, even way before you went there? And just give us a little bit more insights on what does really happen there.
So for this year, the government invited students who passed their exams, high school leaving exams last year really well, plus the...
So which was different from the other year?
Yes, yes. For this particular Ingando, for the diaspora. So I mixed them. And so I have not been living in the diaspora. I went on invitation of the ministry.
Okay.
So I expected definitely to be able to push myself.
Oh, so that means there are a few selected from here. What was the criteria for that?
So the criteria was industry.
Okay.
Those who did really well in their
And you're part of the
exams,
students?
Fortunately.
Congratulations on that,
you.
by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And so the whole idea was to have those who are living in the country and those who are coming from abroad in one place, interact, and then definitely develop a relationship, which was a big success in a way because we're all together. And so I expect it to be hard, definitely. It's not going to chill around there.
Absolutely.
And I expected to push myself physically and mentally. I expected to have some really good interactions with various people. I looked forward to meeting new people, especially those who are living in different districts of the country and those who are coming from abroad. And so the routine was we were to be trained in terms of more theoretical matters. Until then, if we are past that stage, they could give us basic military training.
Yeah.
And so first thing, by 4 a.m. before sunrise, you are out running.
4 a.m. in the morning. Okay. Well, quite a new experience for you.
Definitely.
Yes.
And so we had a morning run, and then we had parade. And we had various speakers in the private sector and the government come to speak to us. And it was really insightful. The discussions were giving us, the time for interactions were given. And then after that, we entered a phase for military training. So discipline, conduct, how to assemble and disassemble an AK-47, how to shoot.
Oh, amazing.
Great skills there. And that was generally the overview.
Yes. Now, looking at the package, because that's where my main focus is, because that's what even maybe the Rwandan government is trying to achieve, especially with the young people. Looking at the package, what would you say has been quite new for you in the package, and what did you learn that you think kind of made a difference in the kind of what you're going to be thinking and working outside, especially now that you're out of the camp?
So being in the civic education brought us closer to people whom you not see on the streets every day.
Okay.
Yes, so we had General Kawale who talked to us, the Army Chief of Defense Staff. We had all these important people come and not give us lectures, but interactions. And so you get an insight into how is the country being run, and where are we coming from and where are we going.
Absolutely.
So in all of this year, I remember something that stood out for me was what General Kawari said. He said, you know, they were a weak force back in 1990, and so how did they win against such a strong force? And then he said, those people who were dying for the cause, if you knew your comrade died, you owed it to them to continue the fight. Because you cannot give up after knowing the blood has been shed for our cause. So in a way, I feel like we owe it to the liberators to fight for what has been achieved. So that's why. So that is something that really lives with me until now, knowing that some people loved this country so much, they died for it. And so when you created this kind of peace, this kind of safe environment, what is us as this current generation, you and I included.
Absolutely.
And as a ours is not a war with bullets. I think it's kind of different war with ability, with innovation, with creation, with, you know, taking a step further.
Absolutely.
Which our children take a step further until Rwanda is where we need it to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, looking at, of course, you are students from different parts of the world, I would say even.
Yeah.
And I would love to know what also other students were thinking, because you are there, but also at least I've seen you write a little bit of articles about what you see and what you're engaged in, and you get to have a different narrative of what you think. But tell me, if you look at some of these students, what kind of students are there, and what the kind of courses you go through them? What do you think is the impact on them that they come in without knowing and they will go out knowing?
So for the kind I went to, it was different because we had diaspora people, and then we had people who have lived here all their lives.
Yes.
So it was a very interesting combination to see people are like, oh my God, oh no, and then people are like, oh my God, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting environment to see. And as a writer, I was really inspired by what I was seeing, because 1 week you see people complaining half of the time, and then second week you're seeing people really united, working really hard, and then by the third week you cannot tell the difference between a person who's lived abroad and the one who's lived inside. Yes, because there was a kind of fraternity that was created, a kind of teamwork, a kind of, because we had what we call amasiwo, and then we were competing against each other.
Yeah.
So when you're competing, you owe it to your team to do your best.
Okay.
So it was bringing out a kind of responsibility and duty, which is which I think really changed narratives. It changed norms in people. They are feeling that kind of bond you and Rwanda being strengthened. And when that is happening, it means we were creating a community of our own. We didn't have our phones, so this is what we had with each other. So we had conservatives, we had liberals, and we had debates going on for hours, which I think is very eye-opening, very insightful in bringing all of us together, in creating ideas, and then creating lasting friendships. Because this is the next generation of leaders.
Absolutely.
So the more they are connected, regardless of where they live, I think that's a huge win for our own.
Yes, these are very young people with a bright future, I would say.
Yeah.
But looking at the whole program of the civic education, would you say that indeed what they plan to achieve was achieved, and did these people come in and do what they transformed? And if so, how do you see the transformation? We could start also with you, maybe.
Personally, I have always been patriotic, and I've always, known that my future lies with serving my country. But being there reaffirmed something I already had.
Okay.
Because I just had it, in theory. But being there, you feel challenged. You're challenged to do something because you're being given hardcore evidence of transformation. And so personally, I grew in the sense that my ideas were reaffirmed, they were improved, they were bettered, they were challenged. And that is something, that will live with me. It just goes past the 3 weeks. And then we had people from abroad who came and could not speak one word in Kinyarwanda. One word. They couldn't even say Mwaramutse. And by the time we left, they were pretty good, because we had sessions where we were teaching them Kinyarwanda. And so I think Ururimi, that's really strong in bringing unity.
Absolutely.
And so we had people learning their language. We had people learning their culture in Indangagaciro z'Abanyarwanda, Kirazira, all these things. And so I think people did not leave the same way they came. Definitely not. I think something changed. Something was bettered or changed. Definitely.
Something very commonly known, especially during the civic education, are the slogans. Talked out. What are some of the key slogans that were part of the Indangamirwa? What are some of the key slogans that you think reaffirmed Indangamirwa we saw that were around?
So definitely, the biggest part was probably songs, which
Okay.
are probably ringing in my head even as you speak. But the biggest ones are only Kianda, Intore Ntagiganya, Shaka Ibisubizo, Intore Nisahindura Urungano, Intore, all these things are like...
And you affirm them and you feel that
Yes, because now when I'm in a particular situation, I'm like, Intore Ntiganya, I have to find a way out of this.
That's great to know.
Yeah, definitely. Intore Nimunzira Inzitani Ishakira Inzira. It's just short words, but really powerful, really meaningful.
Powerful.
Yeah.
You said, Samantha, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
And of course, keep up the good work. And
too.
thank you so much for coming on Rise and Shine. We hope to have you next time, maybe.
I would love to.
All right, for our viewers, there you had it. There you had it. Of course, you've been watching Rise and Shine. Story of the day. Chantal Uwera will be up next.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda'S and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. It's now time for your business stories with me, Chantal Uwera. Starting off with Rwanda. Rwanda will host the first regional Women Trade Forum to discuss mechanisms of addressing the challenges of women that they face while doing business in the region. Stephen Ruzibiza, the Rwandan Private Sector Federation Chief Executive Officer, said the 5-day forum will attract over 100 women business leaders from Rwanda and Kenya. And in the region, Kenya's National Bank is turning to its major shareholders for a loan of 4.2 billion Kenyan shillings. The resort to a loan from the government and a statutory pension fund follows delays in raising money, through a cash call on shareholders and uncertainty over a merger plan with 2 other state-owned banks. Uganda takes the leading role in trying to persuade the rest of the East African Community partner states to sign the Economic Partnership Agreement. The deal was expected to be signed during the UN Conference on Trade. The deal was due to be signed in the UN Conference on Trade and Development that took place last week in Nairobi, Kenya, which was not signed. Early this year, Rwanda's National Bank presented the Monetary Policy and Financial Stability Statement, projecting a growth in the economy up to 6.3%. Given this number, Rwanda has been ranked among the fastest growing economies. Let's take a look.
The Rwandan economy performed well in the first 3 quarters of 2015 as real GDP grew by 6.9%. The 2015 real GDP was on average driven by the good performance of the service sector, followed by the industry sector, which grew by 7.3% and 7.0% respectively.
Implementing the accommodative monetary policy, we allow more liquidity within the banking industry, and that had helped to develop or to grow the interbank market. That is the key to growing the financial market in general. So you see volumes of value of interbank market increasing 2014, almost doubling and maintaining that level in 2015. The other key point is the sale of treasury bonds to the market, government treasury bonds. As we have said before, we agreed with the Minister of Finance to be issuing a bond every quarter, apart from mobilizing financing for the government, but this is mainly focused on developing the capital market. We used to raise this money through short-term instruments of T-bills, but now we've transformed a big chunk of that into T-bonds. So as you can see, last year, in 2015, we were able to successfully issue 4 bonds with different maturities, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So next week, we'll be issuing another bond, 15 billion of 5 years. I hope most of you here have heard of the news and are ready to invest in the bond. Then in May, we are planning to issue a 15-year bond, which will be the longest maturity. So we want to build that yield curve within our markets.
With the global economic turbulence, emerging markets and much of sub-Saharan Africa had to revise their projections. 2015 was marred with currency headwinds and falling commodity prices.
We have two main drivers of our economy. We see agriculture projected to grow at 5.1% this year, and services remain a key factor in our economic growth. So services here are talking mainly about trade and financial services. Then, of course, on the industrial construction also still remains a key driver of our growth. So it's mainly these are the main drivers we see. So it remains a key sector driving our growth. And when you look at demand, I don't have the exact numbers here, but when you hear of demand for housing in, for example, in Kigali city only, before you even go in the other secondary cities, it's being met to the tune of about 30% or even less. So the room to continue investing in this area is really still big.
The SEC has a three-part mission, which is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and promote capital formation. Oftentimes, the two parts of the mission that get the most news are the investor protection issues. Those are most relevant in terms of when we do enforcement actions against basically bad guys who are trying to rip off investors. Maintaining fair, orderly, and efficient markets has to do with the way we regulate the well-functioning capital markets in terms of our stock markets and our bond markets. But the one piece of our mission that doesn't get as much press is the capital formation piece. And one of the reasons why I'm here in Rwanda is to meet with our counterparts at the CMA, because they're doing great things in terms of promoting capital formation and promoting capital markets-based financing here in Rwanda.
How does the U.S. SEC track mutual fund activity in countries that are not maybe allies of the U.S.?
We have a number of regulations for investment companies, or mutual funds as you call them, in terms of what securities they're allowed to invest in, the concentration in those securities, and we have a compliance team that does on-site inspections of them periodically. We also take tips from investors if they think that there's any problems with them as well.
And that's all we had for you, dear viewers. Stephen Kalimba will be up next with sports.
Welcome back. Time now for your sports news with me, Stephen Kalimba. Starting with athletics, long-distance runner Salome Nyirarukundo breaks own national record. Nyirarukundo said she was excited after setting a new 5,000-meter record for the under-20 at the IAF World Junior Championship Athletics Championship that ended on Sunday in the Polish town of Bydgoszcz. Nyirarukundo, who ran for 15 minutes, 57 seconds and 68 microseconds, which is 12 microseconds better than her previous national record, finished 13th, an outcome she blamed on her illness days before the race. And in the Olympics, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, is disappointed its recommendation to ban Russia from the next month's Olympic Games in Rio has been rejected. According to the agency, the International Olympic Committee's decisions to reject calls to ban all Russian competitors from the Rio Olympics could lead to lesser protection for clean athletes. The committee decided it will be up to the individual federations to decide the level of Russian participation on a sport-by-sport basis, and it has set out a very strict criteria that every Russian athlete must fulfill if they are to qualify for Rio. And in international tennis, Venus Williams lost to Brighton Johanna Konta in Stanford. Konta, who's 25 years old, beat the 7-time Grand Slam champion 7-5, 5-7, and 6-2 in California to win her first ever WTA title. Williams, who is 34, gave credit to the Brighton, saying she had played at such a high level. Konta described the win as a humbling experience, saying she had expected to be playing against a magnitude of experience in Venus Williams. She becomes the second Brighton to win the first WTA title, since Sue Baker in 1977. And there you had it. Peace Quizera is up next with Lifestyle.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda'S and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. It's time for Lifestyle with me, Peace Quizera. Many of you have heard about the famous Dîner en Blanc, and most of you might be wondering maybe what happened at this year's event. Well, Rise and Shine team was there to capture a few highlights of the event, and we managed to talk to a few people who attended. Let's take a look. Dîner en Blanc is a yearly event organized by Illumi Creative Studio. Over the past years, the event has increased in number, and every year it happens to be better and attracts more people. We managed to talk to a few people, and here is what they had to say about this event.
I'm Joan Mazumhaka. I'm the Managing Director of Illumi Creative Studio. We created this event in 2012, and we decided to bring something to Kigali basically that we thought would highlight the city, would be another tourism attraction for the region, and something that would really give our people a chance to get creative and to look elegant and to enjoy themselves. Just a dinner out with your friends, and we thought it would be a fun addition to the annual calendar of tourism in Rwanda. Well, you know, we tried to create something that's really fun and lets people be themselves as much as possible. So when we do that each year, then we showcase through our photography and through our videos what people have actually done the years before. Then everyone gets more and more excited to show themselves. So it's a chance for everyone to just feel really free, to be creative, to be innovative, it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to, it just has to be what you feel represents you the most. And we see a lot of it here, and it's really wonderful because the creativity and the energy of the event comes from the guests. We just set the background, we give the platform for everybody, and then they rise to the occasion.
Now, you guys have been to Dîner en Blanc before?
It's the first time. It's my first time as well.
Oh,
yeah.
in Rwanda?
No, first time Dîner en Blanc.
Oh.
Not me. I won 2 times already.
You won?
Yes, I won Best Creative for the 2nd year, and I won Best Table for the 3rd year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hope to win this time?
Yes.
I don't hope. I know.
You know you will.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah. Because we are not only nice in our dress, we also have a message to give to people. So we hope that people will be touched by what we are trying to say.
It's my 2nd time coming, and I love it. I can't wait to come back next year. It's a class apart. It's not. It's a very good crowd. It's one way of networking with different people in different sections. When you come to Dîner en Blanc, you're gonna meet so many different people in different places.
That's really exciting.
It's very good. It's a good event for Rwanda.
So Moses,
yes.
How did you find this Dîner en Blanc this time around? It's the 5th edition.
Yeah.
How different is it from other editions that have been taking place?
Yeah, the Dîner en Blanc today is really amazing. I appreciated everything. We got new people. It's actually the most exciting event we have here in Kigali. Like, everyone is very excited to attend. Like, we're counting days one by one. We couldn't wait. So really, I can say it's a success. It's now been 5 years. And I think every single year we see the improvement.
My name is Mayonde, and I'm an artist. I sing, I design jewelry, I'm an interior designer as well. So yes, I like to say artist because there's no medium I don't explore. Yeah.
You really look beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Today, I feel like there are so many beautiful people here. I've never seen so many beautiful people in the same place.
And I heard you're Rwandese.
Yes, I'm half Rwandese, so I'm half Kenyan. My dad is from Kenya, my mom is from here, she's from Rwanda. So yes. Yes, it's my first time to be at Dîner en Blanc. It's so beautiful. It's magic. It's pure magic.
Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be here. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes, how did you find it?
It's wonderful. It's the first time I'm coming into this environment. It's fascinating. It's unique.
Yes.
It's interesting. Yeah, I've not been to. Well, I've been hearing a few of them, but I've never been to actually one. And I think it's interesting. It's very different. It's all about having fun. It's about families, about friends. So it's really interesting.
Peace Kwizera, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Well, there you had it from the highlights from Dîner en Blanc, but I'm going to at least ask one question. In a wrap-up, what was it like? At least you were there to take a look for us and, experience the whole thing on our behalf. What was it like?
Well, it was beautiful. Lots of performances, and actually people turned up. I didn't think people could turn up that much. And people really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was creative. We had people from Uganda and Kenya gracing the event. It was really wonderful.
Did you tell us about Isaiah Katumwa?
Isaiah Katumwa did his
about
magic. He's a very, very good performer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he plays the saxophone, and he told me he taught himself, and back in the days it was really hard. So
yeah, because there was no YouTube and all kinds of sources of learning like that.
Yes, and we look forward to more Dîner en Blanc.
Of course, I hope there are more than just one in a year.
Yes.
But of course, that is all we had for you for the show today. But don't forget, we'll have to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on our Facebook page, and do send us your ideas for the program. Check out our Rise and Shine YouTube page, and please subscribe. That's so you can catch all the shows and the reposts that we do. Find us on Instagram, and remember, we love to see your pics. Last but not least, go ahead and check out our website where you can catch every single thing that we do here at Rise and Shine Rwanda, and also follow us on Snapchat. I am Peace Kwizera.
And I'm Ivan Magwene. We'll be here sometime, same place tomorrow. Do join us then. But for now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.